France's government looks set to fall. On September 8th, Prime Minister François Bayrou faces a crucial confidence vote in the National Assembly, one that could trigger a fresh wave of political instability. Bayrou himself called the extraordinary session, hoping to rally support behind his deeply unpopular budget plans.
I have asked the President, and he accepted, to summon the Parliament in an extraordinary session on Monday, September 8th, in 2 weeks.
Political experts say Bayrou's move is a gamble, one that may well backfire.
So the Prime Minister called a confidence vote really is a gamble. So he has proposed a budget that is going to cut a great deal of money and also remove 2 public holidays. It's a very unpopular budget. And he knew that in proposing this budget, he was going to get a no confidence vote anyway. So his gamble was to essentially call a confidence vote so he could try to see if he could force the other actors in the opposition parties to negotiate with him.
Bayrou is not the first to face such a test. His predecessor, Michel Barnier, was brought down in a confidence vote less than a year ago. This time, too, the signs point to defeat. Opposition parties say they will vote against Bayrou, and analysts see little chance of him surviving.
Looking ahead about whether or not the Prime Minister's gamble will pay off and whether or not he'll be able to survive this vote, if everybody from the opposition parties can be taken at face value, he will most likely lose this vote and the government will fall.
If Bayrou falls, France risks entering uncharted territory, with no clear majority in parliament and no easy path to forming a stable government.
The major risk here is instability, that there's not a government in place to pass a budget, which must be passed by the end of this year, or we're not sure, we'll be in basically uncharted territory here in France. Now, there's no easy solution here because based on opinion polls right now, if the president were to dissolve parliament and hold elections, it's unlikely that things would change. It's most likely that you would have a parliament that is essentially the way it is right now, which is to say, no majority. So the president is really in a difficult position. There's no easy way out here.
At the heart of the dispute is France's mounting debt, 113.9% of GDP, and a deficit nearly double EU limits. But parties cannot agree on how to close the gap.
There are many people in France that are worried that the debt is so large that France could run into a debt crisis where international banks no longer want to loan money to the country. Obviously, the way to avoid that is to bring the deficit down, but nobody can agree on how. So the forces on the center-right want to do it by reducing spending, especially on social services. Folks on the left want to do it by increasing taxes on the wealthy. And those two ideas are incompatible. And as a result, because nobody can agree on exactly how to do it, and because there's not a majority in the parliament to pass this law, you end up in a situation where basically the opposition parties take their toys and go home, and the government falls.
President Emmanuel Macron has ruled out snap elections, aware that new polls show no party could win a clear majority. Instead, France's fragmented assembly remains split between the left, the center-right, and the far-right national rally.
If President Macron actually dissolves parliament, based on the opinion polling right now, it looks like, again, there will not be a majority. It looks like the left bloc will have about the same that it has now. The center bloc, so that's Macron's bloc, will probably lose more seats. The center-right will probably gain those seats. And the far-right, run by the National Rally, they'll probably win about the same amount, so about a third of the vote.
For now, France heads toward September 8th, with no clear way out of its political deadlock. Analysts say the best-case scenario is a new premier who can win enough support to pass a budget. But even that would be right at the wire.
My expectation is that things are not going to be resolved quickly. We're going to continue to see fragmentation, the inability for the parliament to act decisively. The president is going to continue to be hamstrung and unable to also make things happen right away. My guess is that the best case scenario is that if the government falls, that France will get a new government, a new prime minister that is able to cobble together a budget that can pass and please financial investors. That's the best possible scenario, and if it does happen, it's going to be right at the wire.